We are almost out of time. That was President Obama's warning as Congress groped for a way to avoid a government default. Car makers agree to double the mileage their vehicles get, but Jim Axelrod reports it will take a while and there's a catch. It's a diagnosis nobody wants to hear.
He says, you have bladder cancer, and you can feel the room spinning.
Then it got worse. Dr. John LaPook on why bladder cancer patients almost never get the recommended treatment. And a pilot crashed into Lake Huron.
I'm like, oh my God, you survived a plane crash, now you're going to drown.
Then came the hard part, lasting 18 hours in 10-foot waves. Dean Reynolds has his amazing survival story.
This is the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley.
Good evening. Scott is off tonight. I'm Bob Schieffer. The House finally passed the Republican plan to raise the debt limit tonight, but that's just one step, and the days are now dwindling down to a precious few. Here's how it looks tonight. As of today, the government has less than $39 billion on hand to pay its bills. By Tuesday, it will be less than $26 billion. By Wednesday, less than $15 billion. But here's where the crunch comes. On Wednesday, the government will owe $23 billion to Social Security recipients. We've got a team of correspondents on this important story tonight, and we're going to start at the Capitol with Nancy Cordes. Nancy.
Bob, the bill narrowly passed a short time ago by a vote of 218 to 210, with no Democrats voting yes. And in truth, the negotiations towards a final compromise really couldn't resume until this vote had passed and conservative Republicans had had their say. So tonight, even Democrats are relieved that this vote is behind them.
The bill, all those in favor signify so by saying aye. Those opposed, no.
After postponing the vote last night, Republican leaders finally found the votes to pass their bill.
Are you still a no, or have you changed your vote?
No, I'm a yes.
I am. I absolutely am now an enthusiastic yes.
But the conservative holdouts extracted a heavy price, demanding the bill contain a guarantee that Congress would vote on and pass a constitutional amendment to balance the budget as a condition for raising the debt ceiling in the future.
We will pass an amendment to the Constitution of the United States that literally holds a gun to the head of the economy of the United States of America. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves legislating in this way.
But House Speaker John Boehner was willing to attach the controversial measure anyway to spare himself the humiliation of failing to pass his own bill.
This House has acted, and it is time for the administration and time for our colleagues across the aisle, put something on the table. Tell us where you are.
Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid vowed to kill the GOP bill in the Senate.
No, I need something now.
Senate leaders are arguing now over how many times the debt ceiling should be raised before the next elections. The Republicans want to vote on it twice. Democrats want just one vote. And the real issue going forward is whether new deficit reductions will come just from spending cuts or if tax increases can be included. Even the Senate chaplain is praying for a breakthrough.
Lord, help them to comprehend the global repercussions of some poor decisions.
And the clock is ticking. Senate leaders have only until midnight tonight to come up with compromise legislation, or they risk not having enough time to vote on it in the House and in the Senate by that Tuesday deadline, Bob.
So, Nancy, walk us through this here. What's going to happen next?
Well, what's happening, hopefully, Bob, is that Senate leaders, Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader, and Harry Reid, the Democratic leader, are hashing out these differences and trying to come up with a final package. And senators on the right and the left have been telling us all day long that's exactly what they want. They want compromise at this point. They don't want this hanging out any longer.
And they've got to get this done by Wednesday, when the government has to send out those Social Security checks. And right now, They don't have the money to do that. Okay, thank you very much, Nancy. From the beginning, it has been the new Republican leaders, members, I should say, who have been the biggest problem for their Speaker, John Boehner. For sure, they are not exactly household names, so we asked Jan Crawford to find out who they are and what has been motivating.
The methods congressional leaders once used to strong-arm members to vote the party line don't work with all the new freshman House Republicans. They aren't focused on compromise or even thinking about their own political future. They're here to cut spending.
But I don't care enough about winning re-election, and I have to become something that I'm not in order to win. It's just not worth it. 4
of the new congressmen are from South Carolina: Mick Mulvaney, Trey Gowdy, Jeff Duncan, and Tim Scott. They have been among the hardest votes for Speaker John Boehner to get.
I think it's fair to say that each of us was offered something for our vote in the last couple of days over this.
Now, as the debt ceiling debate heads to the brink, these holdouts hear what others in Washington are calling them.
Neanderthals, intransigent, radical, revolutionaries.
Revolutionaries too?
But are you worried that that the narrative, your refusal to go along could send the country into a spiral of default and plunging stock markets and escalating mortgage prices?
What is one person's intransigence is another person's deeply held convictions.
With the pressure increasing, they look to one another for support. Thursday night, 3 of them met in a small chapel to pray.
We spent some time talking and praying and looking at the Word for some confirmation.
Those deeply held convictions mean they won't be easily swayed.
We're here to fix the system. We're not here to do deals for the sake of doing deals. That's what Washington has always done. That's why we're $14 trillion in debt. We're here to try and fix things. I've got 3 young boys, 16, 13, and 10, and I don't want them 10 years from now to say, Dad, when y'all were at the brink, what did you do? I don't want him to say, I don't want to have to answer them, I didn't do enough.
Now, Bob, even though they have disagreed with John Boehner and voted against his plan, these 4 say they strongly support him, and they insist the government will still have the money to pay his bills and get checks to the seniors in the military, even if there's no deal by Tuesday.
Okay, Jan, thank you very much. Jan Crawford. The president again urged people to call their member of Congress and demand action, but mostly it was just a day of watching and waiting at the White House. Nora O'Donnell is there again tonight for us. Nora?
Good evening, Bob. Well, tonight we're told that the president and vice president are busy making calls up to Capitol Hill, knowing that as soon as the Boehner bill makes it to the Senate, they are in a race against the clock to find a solution.
Today, the president issued a strong warning to lawmakers that the time for putting party first is over.
What's clear now is that any solution to avoid default must be bipartisan. It must have the support of both parties that were sent here to represent the American people, not just one faction.
He called again on the American people to contact their representatives in Congress.
Make a phone call, send an email, tweet, keep the pressure on Washington, and we can get past this.
To help the effort, the president unleashed his re-election campaign's powerful online operation, urging his over 9 million Twitter followers to tweet Republican lawmakers to support bipartisan compromise. When asked why Mr. Obama was using his campaign resources to pressure Republicans only, Press Secretary Jay Carney denied it was a partisan effort.
This is not a political game. The American economy hangs in the balance.
Now, any final compromise is going to have to be agreed to by the White House. The vice president is going to be key in that effort. Remember, Biden served for 3 decades in the Senate. He has crafted deals in the past with the Senate leader, Mitch McConnell. But still tonight, I'm told that President Obama has still not spoken with Speaker Boehner. The last time they talked, Bob, was 5 days ago.
All right, Nora. Well, thank you so much. Just when you thought this whole thing couldn't get weirder, the Smurfs rang the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange today. The market went on to lose another 97 points today and more than 500 for the week. Washington was dithering. All that on top of an economy that is already a basket case. Here's Anthony Mason.
The economy's in even worse shape than we thought. It grew at a meager 1.3% in the quarter just ended, while growth in the first quarter was revised down to just 0.4%. The way economist Ellen Zentner sees it,
we're in a very precarious situation. When economic growth is rolling along at maybe a 1% rate, there are many that would argue that that could be no growth at all.
in Scranton, Pennsylvania, the so-called steam city, you can see both sides of an economy struggling to pick up steam. The tech startup NetDriven is hiring. The company, which provides internet marketing for auto businesses, plans to double in size this year.
So this is the space you're expanding into?
Yeah, we're going to be moving into this space August 15th.
Pat Sandone says he's looking for 15 more people.
There are a lot of very talented candidates that want to come work for us because there aren't a lot of jobs out there.
But across town in Scranton, Paul Costanzi is now searching the classifieds.
How do you feel about heading into this job market?
That's the scary part because, there's no jobs out there.
The distribution warehouse he's worked in for 31 years is closing, putting 200 people out of work.
I'm 50 years old. I've been there since out of high school, since I'm 18. Now I don't know where I'm going to go, but just have to see.
And as Washington argues over the debt ceiling, Zentner says the economy is hanging in the balance.
So in a way, it's really up to U.S. lawmakers to determine how well are we going to grow in the second half. And that's a scary thought that we leave it up to them.
Zentner says the debt ceiling impasse has made the economic outlook even more uncertain for businesses, and uncertainty means no hiring. Bob?
Thank you very much, Anthony. Two of Washington's key players in all this, Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell and New York Senator Chuck Schumer, will be our guests Sunday on Face the Nation. The Army private arrested yesterday and accused of plotting a bomb attack near Fort Hood was defiant in his first court appearance today. Nasser Abdo refused to stand up for the judge, and he later shouted the name of Major Nadal Hassan, who's charged with shooting 13 people to death at Fort Hood in 2009. It's not known if Abdo is connected to Hassan or any terror groups. It is a real survivor story. After his plane crashed, a man was able to tread water for 18 hours. By 2025, your car could be getting 50 miles a gallon, and this could be a first $1 million fender bender when the CBS Evening News continues.
We take it a day at a time. That's how it is with Alzheimer's disease. She needs help from me and her medication. The Exelon patch, it releases medication continuously for 24 hours. She uses one Exelon patch daily for the treatment of mild to moderate Alzheimer's symptoms.
It cannot change the course of the disease. Hospitalization and rarely death have been reported in patients who wore more than one patch at a time. The most common side effects of Exelon patch are nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. The likelihood and severity of these side effects may increase as the dose increases. Patients may experience loss of appetite or weight. Patients who weigh less than 110 pounds may experience more side effects. People at risk for stomach ulcers who take certain other medicines should talk to their doctor because serious stomach problems such as bleeding may worsen. People with certain heart conditions may experience slow heart rate.
Whenever I needed her, she was there for me. Now, I'm here for her.
Ask the doctor about your loved one trying the Exelon patch. Visit exelonpatch.com to learn more.
Mine was earned over the South Pacific in 1943.
Vietnam, 1967.
I got mine in Iraq, 2003.
USAA auto insurance is often handed down from generation to generation because it offers a superior level of protection and because USAA's commitment to serve the military, veterans, and their families is without equal. Begin your legacy. Get an auto insurance quote. USAA. We know what it means to serve.
Allergy season.
Good thing it's Allegra season. I bought it at Walmart without a prescription.
Allegra gives you fast, non-drowsy, 24-hour relief of your toughest symptoms. Get Allegra at an everyday low price at Walmart.
You know those lucky dogs who have that perfect amount of gray hair that everyone loves? Now you can be one of them. Touch of Gray combs away a little gray without getting rid of it all. Touch of Gray. Get the best of both.
Your favorite food's fighting you? Fight back fast with Tums. Calcium-rich Tums goes to work in seconds. Nothing works faster.
Tums.
Naturals from Purina Cat Chow. Delicious real ingredients with no artificial flavors or preservatives. Naturals from Purina Cat Chow. Share a better life.
President Obama stepped away from the debt crisis for a while today to announce a new deal with automakers to make cars that are more fuel efficient. Next year's models will average about 30 miles a gallon. By 2025, that will rise to 54.5, which will mean fewer trips to the gas station. Jim Axelrod has more on that now.
In Chicago, where the cab of choice is the gas-guzzling Crown Vic, help is on the way for cabbies like Amer Sadeh.
Every day right now we pay a lot of money for gas. It's taken a lot of money from our pockets.
Beginning in 2017, car companies have agreed to double the average fuel efficiency of their entire model lines. That'll force them to make lighter, smaller vehicles with high-tech gas-sipping engines like hybrids.
This agreement on fuel standards represents the single most important step we've ever taken as a nation to reduce our dependence on foreign oil.
Plus, by 2025, we'll have cut consumption by 2.2 million barrels a day, as much as half the oil we import from OPEC every day. Chris Ewart knows something about increasing gas mileage. His company makes hybrids even more efficient.
Hopefully it reflects on our need to get off of foreign oil as a country and what that's doing to our economy.
Auto companies had resisted the new standards. They argued they would have to pass on development costs for high-efficiency vehicles to consumers.
How long before it's done?
That's got cab company owner Elvin Steiner worried.
You're going to be spending double, maybe triple, just on the vehicle. So that's tripling your vehicle expense right there.
But it's hard to discount the sticker shock of fuel savings over the life of the program. By 2025, the new standards will save American drivers $1.7 trillion at the pump. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, New York.
And then there was this. In Monte Carlo, a woman driving a Bentley, sticker price $360,000, rammed into a $95,000 Mercedes, then sideswiped a $220,000 Aston Martin, which ricocheted into a $95,000 Porsche. Finally, the Bentley hit a $270,000 Ferrari. No injuries, but it adds up to a $1 million fender bender. Very little escapes our notice here. More than 70,000 Americans are diagnosed with bladder cancer each year, but only a handful get the recommended treatment. That story next.
Before we do any major projects on our home,
we do a ton of research on Angie's List.
At Angie's List, you'll find reviews on everything from home repair to healthcare, written by people just like you.
With Angie's List, I save time, money, and I avoid frustration.
You'll find great companies and great Angie's List discounts.
You want to be sure the money you're about to spend is money well spent.
Before you have any work done in your home, go to Angie's List.
From roofers to plumbers to dentists and more, Angie's List. Reviews you can trust.
You stole my line.
I love that my daughter's part fish, but when she got asthma, all I could do was worry. Specialists, lots of doctors, lots of advice, and my hands were full. I couldn't sort through it all. With United Healthcare, it's different. We have access to great specialists, and our pediatrician gets all the information. Everyone works as a team, and I only need to talk to one person about her care.
We're more than 78,000 people looking out for 70 million Americans. That's health in numbers. United Healthcare.
Everybody loves that cushiony feeling.
Uh-oh, I gotta go.
And with Charmin Ultra Soft, you can get that same cushiony feeling you love while still using less. Charmin Ultra Soft has extra cushions that are soft and more absorbent, so you can use 4 times less versus the leading value brand. Using less never felt so good. We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin Ultra Soft?
It has an HD webcam, killer audio, and lids that switch to start every semester fresh. But mostly, it helps me try new moves on and off the court. Powered by the 2nd Gen Intel Core processor family. Not just smart, visibly smart. Get an Inspiron 15R with 6 gig memory and 640 gig hard drive for $599.99 at Dell.com.
It started with a dream of providing people with a better night's sleep. As you changed, we changed. Today, City Furniture has been Florida's furniture store for 40 years, and we're celebrating with an incredible anniversary sale. You save on everything for your home. A complete bedroom, including queen bed, dresser, mirror, nightstand, and media chest is only $7.99. Plus, enjoy no interest till 2013. City Furniture's 40th anniversary sale. Dreams do come true.
It doesn't get much publicity. People don't like to talk about below-the-belt maladies, but bladder cancer is the 5th most common form of cancer in the U.S. More than 70,000 Americans were diagnosed with the disease last year, and nearly 15,000 died from it. New research shows that a big problem may be that almost no one gets the recommended treatment. Here's Dr. John LaPook.
Think it's ready?
Yep. 6 years ago, Adam Schaefer was enjoying Thanksgiving with his family until
I went to the bathroom and there was a whole bunch of red, and it was very scary.
He was just 44 years old. The doctor's diagnosis floored him.
He says, "You have bladder cancer." And you could feel the room spinning.
His first doctor removed the tumor but did not follow up with standard recommended treatment. Failure to follow guidelines is dangerously common, and one reason bladder cancer survival has not improved in 25 years, says UCLA's Dr. Kareem Chamey.
If we were to get a report card based on our performance with these guideline measures, I'd say we'd be failing.
For the first 2 years after finding early bladder cancer, doctors are supposed to test the urine for abnormal cells and examine the inside of the bladder every 3 months. They're also supposed to fill it with an anti-cancer drug at least 6 times. But among 4,500 patients, only 1 received that recommended care. And more than 40% of doctors failed to perform those tests even once, the bare minimum.
If we miss the boat, we're going to lose them. These are all potentially curable patients.
Dr. Bernard Bachner from Memorial Sloan Kettering specializes in bladder cancer. He says it's unclear why follow-up is so poor.
This is certainly not acceptable within the medical community. We need to do a better job. There's no question about that.
Schaefer says he's doing well now because he found a new doctor and the right care.
I do credit the team with saving my life.
Bladder cancer that hasn't spread has a 50 to 70% chance of recurring. That's why it's so important to stay on top of it.
John, what I don't understand is, whose responsibility is this? Is it the patient or is it the doctor?
I think it's both, okay? For the doctor, it's tough to keep track of all this, and this is something that a computer is so great at. You put the guidelines in, the person comes in, they have been following the guidelines, a little flashing light comes up and reminds you. From the patient point of view, they do have a responsibility, and it's the responsibility of the doctor to have a good enough relationship to look them in the eye and convince them why they should go through sometimes difficult and sometimes uncomfortable and embarrassing procedures in order to give them a chance to save their own life.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dr. John LaPook. Thank you, sir. Last week, Rupert Murdoch told Parliament that being called to testify about a hacking scandal at one of his British tabloids made for the most humbling day of his life. Then someone hit him in the face with a cream pie. Today, the man who threw the pie, a comedian named Johnny Marbles, pleaded guilty to assault, and he said,
"I would just like to say that this has been the most humble day of my life."
Maybe he can work on some original material after he is sentenced on Tuesday. 10-foot waves, no life jacket. A desperate man could only pray for a miracle. His story when we come back.
Saving for our child's college fund was getting expensive.
Yes, it was. So to save some money, we taught our 5-year-old how to dunk.
Scholarship. Honey, go get him.
There's an easier way to save. Get online. Go to geico.com. Get a quote. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
I have COPD. If you have it, you know how hard it can be to breathe and what that feels like.
COPD includes chronic bronchitis and emphysema. Spiriva helps control my COPD symptoms by keeping my airways open a full 24 hours. Plus, it reduces COPD flare-ups. Spiriva is the only once-daily inhaled COPD maintenance treatment that does both, and it's steroid-free.
Spiriva does not replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms. Tell your doctor if you have kidney problems, glaucoma, trouble urinating, or an enlarged prostate. These may worsen with Spiriva. Discuss all medicines you take, even eye drops. Stop taking Spiriva and call your doctor right away if your breathing suddenly worsens, your throat or tongue swells, you get hives, vision changes or eye pain, or problems passing urine. Other side effects include dry mouth and constipation.
Nothing can reverse COPD. Spiriva helps me breathe better.
Breathing with COPD is no small thing. Ask your doctor about Spiriva.
I'm a dancer, and until now, my feet showed it.
Since foot skin's 20 times thicker, there's Gold Bond Ultimate Healing Foot Cream. 7 penetrating moisturizers and vitamins help heal rough, dry feet. Gold Bond Ultimate Foot Cream.
This stuff really works.
Impressive resume. I see you're flatulent in 3 languages, graduated top of your gas.
Got gas on your mind?
Your son Rip is on line toot.
Try Gas X. Powerful relief from pressure and bloating in a fast-acting chewable. Gas X. Pressure's off.
The deeper you go, the more good things you learn about oil and natural gas, an industry that supports 9.2 million American jobs, with 20% new jobs in natural gas alone since 2006. And from the energy and manufacturing plants to the fertilizer on the farm to the building blocks for tomorrow's medicines, we're fueling all kinds of jobs. So the next time we discover more oil and natural gas together underground, think of all the good that means above ground. Log on to learn more.
What got this politician so upset at 60 Minutes?
You guys don't get that.
Odds are it's about raising revenue with new casinos. 60 Minutes, Sunday.
Some people have been fortunate enough to survive a plane crash. Others have been stranded miles from shore without a boat and lived to tell the tale. Well, 42-year-old Michael Trapp just survived both. And Dean Reynolds has his story.
This is the last place Michael Trapp thought he'd end up when he left home on Wednesday.
I'm back in business.
Fantastic. The upstate New York auto shop owner intended to fly his Cessna 150 solo to Wisconsin. 4 hours in, he had engine trouble near the Canadian border and crashed into Lake Huron. He was lucky to have survived a 3,000-foot plunge into the relatively balmy 70-degree waters.
When I got out of the plane, I was swimming. I was underwater. And when I got to the surface, only the tail was sticking up. And I just grabbed the tail for a second, said goodbye to her, and watched her go down.
Along with it, his emergency beacon sank. It would have alerted the Coast Guard to his location. 17 miles from shore, all alone and without a life vest, he spotted a smokestack and set his sights on getting there. He alternated between swimming, treading water, and floating on his back and stomach.
A big freighter went within 50 feet of me but never saw me. And all the other boats were just too far away to hear me yelling.
He was exhausted but refused to close his eyes.
If you fall asleep, that's your death calling. So I made sure not to fall asleep. I kept my eyes open the whole night, watched the stars.
As the hours wore on, he began to fear the worst.
There was times when I thought it was going to happen, when I was coughing or gagging and just struggling to breathe, that I thought that might happen. But I was just hoping there's got to be a boat somewhere that's going to see me. Sooner or later, something's got to see me.
After 18 hours, one finally did. 2 women on a yacht called the Eagle's Nest saw Trapp waving a sock. Captain Dean Petitpren pulled him aboard.
If we would have left 5 minutes earlier or later, probably be a different story.
I started crying when they turned around. I was so happy that they were coming back to get me.
After riding a boat to the shore and an ambulance to the hospital here in Saginaw, Trapp was weak but in relatively good shape. Doctors say he'll be out tomorrow. When he goes home, though, he intends to make that journey by car. Dean Reynolds, CBS News, Saginaw, Michigan.
Yeah, and that is the news. Scott Pelley returns on Monday. I'm Bob Schieffer. I really enjoyed being with you these past couple of weeks, and we'll see you Sunday on Face the Nation. Thank you. Good night.